Welcome back to the Trent and Zyori podcast. We are here on the beautiful first day of November 2018. It's 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific, and right smack middle of the day for old Trent over there. It's going to be a good one. We haven't podcasted in a while. Yesterday was Halloween. Not that that matters. I didn't even hand out candy, Trent. I sat upstairs and hid in my bedroom.
Are you serious?
I spent the entire day traveling, dude. I flew back from like a week and a half long wedding, visiting it was like a family reunion.
You live in a family neighborhood. That is unacceptable.
I mean, we turned the lights off.
Shame.
We turned the lights
Shame.
off. It's at least
shame.
We
I see
put out the
children
signal.
playing in that neighborhood. How many of you are in that house right now? How many of them are you?
Too many to be that lazy, I think.
You could have taken
the
shifts.
Answer.
Oh.
I got back halfway through.
Wow.
I don't know. I can make up a medley of excuses, but ultimately, man, I'm in a fuck Hallmark holidays kind of mindset, and I feel like Halloween is up there with it's like a top 3. You know, like Valentine's Day is definitely king of the court in terms of Hallmark holidays, but the Hallmark was invented because of that holiday. You know, Mother's Day and Father's Day are pretty high up there as well.
Kids have fun.
Kids,
they go out, they're dressed, they get candy.
Well, you know, the doorbell did ring a couple of times. Carlos said just give them some of the leftover golden, what was it, the cheddar ducks that we got from Costco for, I think that was that elimination mode? Was that Midas mode? Those are pretty old. No matter what event it was, those things have been in there for a while. Jesus Christ. Trent, before we get into it, though, we've got a sponsor for this podcast, so we've got to do a quick plug here. We've got DotaHaven.com. They are a Dota 2 guide. And, not quite a coaching site, but the same sort of goal all the way through it. So it's a pretty good site. I've been actually working with these guys a little bit. I've done some consulting on how they can improve these guides a little bit, and I think they've got a lot of cool things coming. But what's nice about their site compared to a lot of these other Dota 2 guide sites is they're not subscription-based. Everything is one-off. So they've got really, really great guides that'll give you specific heroes with item builds, movements, and, you know, it's written by actual top players. Nico Baby's guide is $190, so you can actually get some value out of it without having to commit to a subscription. It's
got
not
your
too
boy
bad.
Bowie on there too.
Yeah,
that guy
and
grinds, man.
It's also got a lot of really great curated content. If you look at the library here, not all of it is stuff that was made like specifically as a guide, but they've gone through and looked at all these great community members and other content creators. Like there's Purge videos on here, there's Bowie videos on here, and some of them have written guides, but a lot of it is just like pre-curated content for you. So it's a handy website. There's a lot of good free stuff here. Even if you don't end up buying a guide, it's a good source to just like get videos. You know, YouTube is not really that great at suggesting good content for you. So Dota Haven's got your back. DotaHaven.com, baby. Check it out. Okay, so Trent, we're back at it. That was beautiful. That was sweet. And where did we leave off? We talked about KL
back
qualifiers.
to shaming you about Halloween. There were like 212 kids roughly at our house. I tried to keep track, but I'm sure. Yeah.
Dude, that's nuts. Though that's an operation. You're tired after that.
It was nice though. You know, they had all kinds of costumes. They're all super excited. They're all having a great time. You know. Sometimes you get a kid in just a hoodie with a backpack, and you're like, well, I'm sure they would dress up if they could, but maybe you know, parents didn't get them anything or something like that.
Well, we all went through that phase where you're like a little too, you're aging out of Halloween, but you're still doing Halloween because it's Value Town and you like candy, so you just kind of, I don't know. I empathize with the growing pains of still enjoying those holidays, but feeling too old to really be hanging out with people 5 years younger wearing Batman costumes. Yeah, exactly. Give them some sugar, make that pancreas work. Let's do this thing. That is insane, though, man. I guess you guys are really in a prime neighborhood. You got to remember, we're also in the cul-de-sac, though. So we actually aren't really on prime trick-or-treating route.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true.
So, I mean, I remember the first year we moved here, Annie was so excited about Halloween. She dressed up like a dinosaur. She bought all this candy, and the doorbell rang like literally 4 times the entire night. So, and we kind of told her, Mott and I were both like, I don't really think that this is going to, I mean, there's just, I don't.
I thought they would do the loop. You have a nice street. I can see why she'd think that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably better places. I guess our houses are fairly dense, but there's probably more dense housing that people go to, it seems like. Not everybody just does it in their backyard.
This is definitely the value neighborhood where we live. There's no question. Like all the kids come from outside other neighborhoods to trick-or-treat in this neighborhood. So that's why there's so many damn kids.
See?
It's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're the prime spot. So there are neighborhoods that get left out because you're just siphoning off all that traffic, man. That's what my neighborhood's like.
That's
I'm one of the victim neighborhoods.
I oppressed your Halloween.
Absolutely, dude. Well, at least maybe not geographically, but philosophically, absolutely. I don't know. It's just not. I never really liked dressing up in costumes, believe it or not. I like to wear weird clothes, but it's of a specific type. I always liked the idea of acting, but I hated wearing the shitty costumes in the drama club that smelled bad and were gross. I hated wearing masks. I hate having fucking rubber around my face. I hate not being able to breathe. I hate when you feel that condensation building on the inside of a gross-ass cheap rubber mask made in China for 99 cents. Makes me want to fucking throw up. I'd rather just stay home. Oh, that smell really, and it's around me. I just go, I want to leave. I want to get out of here. I don't want to be involved. I'm Jim for Halloween. That is me right there. That's a great identification. But I try not to be a party pooper. I'm just not super. I think if we hadn't been traveling all day that day, I would have been a little more into it. But I was just dunzo. I was like, let the doorbell ring. We're upstairs. We're watching Netflix. We're eating Chipotle. I'm fucking out, dude. I'm dunzo.
All right. I approve. Where were we before the last podcast anyway? Was that before I went to King's Cup even?
So, yeah, I think so. We talked about the KL Major qualifiers a lot. That was the title of the episode. I think the talent list had maybe just come out. I don't know. I'm actually not sure when it was announced. Either way, no, it was announced when I was in Vegas, and we have not podcasted since before. So I've been to Vegas. You've been to California for King's Cup. You were in Germany for ESL, and I was just in North Carolina for my sister's wedding. So that's the catch-up of the last month. Both of us were on the road quite a bit for varying reasons.
Forgive us. So
what do we want to unpack here? What do we got? Do you want to hit us with some King's Cup action? How was that one?
Yeah, might as well go right from the start. So personally, aside, obviously Midas mode is its own thing. So I don't count Midas mode as the glorious. Aside from Midas mode, King's Cup was my favorite tournament last year, without question. I thought that tournament was so perfectly done. Like the way that it was just Dakota and Jack and Lacoste and Grant and this like 4-man panel. They were always having so much fun. The role swaps, Jack observing. That tournament was like peak Dota. It was the most Moonduck thing not done by Moonduck, you know? Like it was so excellent. It was like finally I saw that like fun aspect of what we always do with 4 other people. And I watched like so many hours of that tournament. I thought it was so good. Okay. And so this year, Jack was obviously busy. And to my surprise, while I was browsing the library, in fact, with my dear wife and baby, I got a message from Dakota saying, hey, yo, do you want to come do King's Cup? And I was like, hell yeah. I was very excited because, I don't know, it just looked like so much fun. And it really was. It was an excellent time. Very well taken care of. Got to stay in the Summit house, and there was nothing going on. So it was just us in the house, and we had PC. So in any of the downtime, you could game, play tons of pubs. Most Dota I've played in like 2 years because no baby to take care of. So me and Lacoste and Jenkins just losing pub after pub.
Nice.
Jenkins got to come too, of course. Moonduck.Jenkins. So he did the NA region, and then because Gods was tied up with the main cast tournament in Russia, he actually got switched over to C and did a couple days of C Dota 2. So,
interesting.
Yeah. I saw tons of traffic in LA. That was my first time really going around LA because when we went to the hub, you just stay in the house the whole time and then go to the hotel and back. But I saw a dead body on the highway. So that was very LA. I saw accidents like every day, like pretty serious accidents. And I was like, man, I'm glad I don't live and drive here.
Yep.
Looks pretty awful.
That's a pretty
that was probably the highlight.
Yeah. Wow. That's so why
was
were
a
you
Dota tournament or something, but
why were you commuting so much?
We were going to the office for the studio.
Okay.
So we were in the house, go to the office for the games during the day, and then back to the house.
Okay. Yeah. I got you. Wow. Yeah, it's even worse if you drive more towards LA because they're
Exactly.
still not
We're always
even
against traffic. So
right.
it's fine.
Well, it's just nonstop going both ways for the most part. Honestly, at this point, there used to be a flow to it, and now it's just it's unbelievable how many people are there getting in and out of the Inland Empire and every spot in between. LA County is just a complete disaster. It is stressful driving there. It's stressful parking there. Everything is tiny, completely jammed in. There's so many cars, so many people, everything moving all around at once. It's just Jesus Christ, man. I don't know.
And the carpool lane is actually empty. It's crazy. You're in the carpool lane, and we're just zooming past, and every single car is just one person.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them. Just one person. That's it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't miss it.
Oh.
I really don't. I mean, the traffic isn't amazing in Colorado, but it doesn't even hold a candle to the likes of. I mean, it's 8 lanes on both sides in gridlock. You're just like, how is this possible?
It was very interesting. It was a new perspective for me in the world of driving.
Yeah. Well, that's
So it
cool.
was
Jenkins told me he had a good time at King's Cup as well. He's somebody, we should get him on the podcast sometime since he's here now because we can do the double setup here in the studio. We should do that for a future Trent and Zyori. That'd be fun. Because he also just went to WESG Toronto, casting with Donnie and Breaky, and I think Tsunami was also there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I think he got back yesterday, maybe the day before, and haven't really talked to him in detail about it, but sounds like a pretty okay event. WSG is really interesting this year. UCC is involved with WESG. If you remember them at all, they're that
UCC
Russian
League.
broadcasting studio. It stands for You Can... What you can company, is that? Oh god, now I want to know. It stands for something really funny that doesn't really make sense. But I saw it on LinkedIn of all places that they're dealing with a whole bunch of they're like the liaisons for all the different regions. But then within the regions, they have individual organizers kind of running the qualifiers. Like Cineplex was the company that was running the one for the Canada qualifier in Toronto.
That was kind of random.
Which is that's it. It's You Can Company. Just You Can. I don't know.
You can too, man.
You can do it, dude. Pick them up. Jesus. Anyway, so very interesting. It'll be cool to see how that pans out. It's kind of nutso, man. That Alibaba money is insane, and I wished anybody could have directed them to allocate it in a manner that makes more sense than this Olympic style ridiculously expensive over-the-top prize pool for these teams that a lot of people don't really care about all that much. Some of them are kind of cool. The concept is neat. I think they could have had the prize pool and still had a pretty comparable event. You know what I mean? It's like $1 per dollar.
Yeah,
I don't think the
though.
viewers are there.
We'll take it.
But it's interesting. It's cool, and I like the global aspect, and the positive aspect is it's an opportunity for spotlight for good regional players that aren't on a Tier 1 team, you know, and it gives them an opportunity to play with a couple of Tier 1 players because some of the regional teams have legitimate Tier 1 pros mixed in there.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Absolutely
That's
kind of cool.
And that was on during Hamburg too, or like right before. So like some of the people who were at Hamburg, like then they got removed from the qualifier. You know, Captain Canuck, the guy who like works for like Dota Buff and stuff, and he's at TI, has a big Mohawk dude. You know, his team made it to the Toronto finals. He was there.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I don't think they did. I think they went 0-2, and they had T-shirts prepped that said 0-2 ready for it because they knew they were playing against like some owie stack or something like that. But they had a good time.
Funny. I like that.
Yeah. And I think that was the Canadian finals, and I believe the ones are in LA soon for USA.
I believe so. I actually don't know much about it. I'm a little out of the loop on WESG stuff, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of allocated money, what was the scoop on Vegas? The Vegas event. Because that was a lot of money. That was a lot of sponsors.
Dude, the Vegas event was actually insane. It was one of the first events I've ever worked that really felt like an actual TV production. It was in a studio that has been on TV. It was with a Fox Sports experienced crew. So it was stressful and intense, and there were a lot of cameras and a lot of lights and a ton of moving pieces, and the space was just big enough to handle
It looked a little
everything.
cozy.
It was definitely cozy. It was doable.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but there were a couple moments where it's like all these people need to move at the same time, and camera operators are like running into each other, and it's just where do I go?
Like people were often throwing from 5 feet away.
Yes.
Is that kind of accurate? Is that what it was
Yeah.
like?
No, the space. It was in the Poker Go studio or the Go Poker studio, whichever it is, which is a really nice place. If you watch poker at all, you've probably seen it before. It's near the Aria Hotel. We stayed in the Park MGM. It was really, really nice. Honestly, it was one of the best events that I've ever worked in terms of the way we were treated, the way things were handled, and just sort of how professional the whole spectrum was in giving us rundowns and kind of rehearsals. And there are obviously a couple of gaps, and there's always that difficulty when people outside of esports are coming in and trying to put real sports spin on everything, and we have to constantly push back and go, cool idea, but that's not quite. Like there was a moment where they wanted me to interview the team during the draft, and they thought, wouldn't that be cool to get their thoughts while the draft is happening? And I was just like, not that would be cool, I have to admit, but never gonna happen. They're not gonna do it.
You can't do that.
That's just not gonna work. So the first game, it was oh God, it was Eternal Envy, that, of course, of all people, right? So they're like, just go up to him right before the draft starts and ask him a couple questions. So I'm like, okay, it's really obnoxious, but still, I'll ask him 2 quick questions and just walk away, and then the game will start. So I walk up to Envy, and as I'm asking my first question, I look over his shoulder and see that he bans a hero, and I'm like, fuck, and I'm already, I'm live, the producer's talking in my ear, and he's looking at me like, seriously, I'm drafting, dude. And I was just like, oh, fuck. I'm sorry about that. Can you just answer one more question? And he was like, no, I got to focus. And I said, okay. And then I looked over at Z-Freak, who was right next to him, and went, hey, Z-Freak, you want to answer a couple questions? He said, I mean, I guess if I have to. And I said, all right, dog. So, and I don't remember what I asked. It was something, really topical and cheesy. Are you guys ready? Something like that. And second question, he just goes, all right, I want to get back to Dota now. I was like, all right, dog, I'm going to let you get to it. Back to you. And afterwards, I was so embarrassed. I felt so awful. Honestly, I went up to Z-Freak a few hours later and apologized and just said I should have just walked away and cut the segment. I should have just made a joke and handled it and intercepted. I'm really sorry. That was, my bad. And, of course, they were super nice about it. And I apologized to Envy, too. And it was sort of the same reaction. They both knew right away that it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was just a direction and a miscommunication. And I think they believed that I didn't realize the draft had actually started when I did it. But, moments like that.
Next level play, dude.
Oh, you really feel kind of, just genuinely shitty when it's like, that's a moment I should have just known better and intercepted and said, guys, we just, we can't do that. We have to wait. I use the analogy of imagine if we were at a soccer game and after they do the coin toss, we run up and start interviewing the quarterback. It's like they're not going to do that. The game has started at that point. They're playing now. You got to wait for the game to start. The draft is part of the game, and that was a big miscommunication. They thought the draft was they were thinking when we said draft, they thought like Magic draft or something, like cards. So it's like we draft decks, then we have a little break, and then we start playing the game.
Right.
So they didn't understand this idea of getting time to analyze the opponent's draft is sort of valuable. So putting like a 5-minute break between the draft and the game is like, dude, you can't just pause it. Now they're going to have time to think about the lanes and the wards. And
unless you're TI.
It changes the dynamic. You can't, well, right. But still, you can't just interject that. You can't just remake the rules of Dota because it would be cool TV. This is, esports has this degree of genuine. But all of the production crew were really cool. They had some really talented people. And the best part about it is that they were absolutely open to our thoughts and changes, and they wanted us to kind of say there's no such thing as a crazy idea. If you have something you think would be cool, speak up. We can do some crazy stuff. We can really run with some wild ideas, but that's why we're all going to soundboard off each other and make sure our wild ideas aren't too wild. So it was a really good process, and I think that's what made it a lot of fun. I have to say, Richard Lewis, man, Jesus, what a pleasant surprise that was. For some reason,
working with him.
Yeah, you read this, you see the online persona, you read his Twitter feed, you see the way he interacts with people, and you just think, man, this guy is going to be the biggest asshole in the world. You know, I can't imagine being on a panel with him. You know, he's going to boss me around or yell at me. At first, I was nervous about saying something wrong or being in this state where, you know, he would be really judgmental or, you know, make fun of me on Twitter or something. And it was honestly the complete opposite. He's in real life, he's a very open person that I feel like I kind of, in that slacks way, I can say anything to him. You know, he's always going to react in a way where, he's not going to say, oh, that's offensive, you're a dickhead. He's going to be curious about, you know, why you would say, you know, he's a very introspective, thoughtful, he applies that journalistic lens to everything, where he's always trying to look at every side, very empathetic, very interested in looking at other people's perspectives. And in the broadcast environment, you know, the rehearsal was genuinely a lot of fun. It reminded me of the Midas mode rehearsals a little bit, where, you know, we were just bashing on each. I was wearing leggings and, you know, Toms, those shoes, the like kind of open foot ones.
Yeah.
He was just like, and now we're going to throw it over to Zyori. I don't know why I'm British, but we're going to throw Australian, but we're going to throw it over to Zyori. It looks like he just got back from his Pilates class, you know, and the whole production crew was laughing. And it was stuff like that where as soon as we were done the rehearsal, I had this feeling of like, okay, cool. They really want us to banter and make fun of each other. And I had this feeling of like, I can kind of say anything to Richard. You know, when we did, I don't know if you saw the opening segment, but we had this slightly awkward transition where they're on the panel and I'm supposed to kind of walk up behind Richard, and then he's going to throw it to me while I'm next to him, and then I'm going to look into the camera and walk off the stage and then kind of transition into
like
giving a tour around the place and like look in the camera while I'm kind of walking backwards and explain the prize pool and the format that had a couple sponsor plugs. So not really that hard, but it's the closest thing to stage hosting I've ever had to do, and it's really a lot of moving pieces because you have to not trip over stuff and still know the lines and, you know, read your cards and look into the camera and all that stuff. It ended up
plug your Reese's.
Yeah, it ended up not being that awkward, but I made it not awkward by putting in like, oh, Richard, they brought me because they didn't trust you to get the format right. So they had to bring in an expert that really knew his stuff. You know, things like that where you just have that comfort to, you know, you're never afraid to make fun of somebody. And that was a great little, it made me appreciate that aspect of Moonduck. You know, I think that's one piece that, despite all our faults, we got really right, is we encourage people to be able to do that and take that risk. And, you know, I'm not going to get offended if you make fun of me. I'm not going to be hurt if you know, I'm going to dish it back. And it was really a lot of fun. And we'll see. I really think Richard was a lot of fun to work with. We had a couple cool bonding moments. You know, a lot of stuff I can't share on air, but obviously it was Vegas. There was some alcohol involved, the after party. We got deep. You know, I went there. I asked every question I ever wanted to ask, and I got some cool answers. So all I can say is, you know, give the guy the benefit of the doubt. My read is that there's a nice gooey center inside that callous exterior, man.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that? How about that?
From what I understand, he's very interested in moving away from CS:GO. He seems to have made some public statements. Is that correct? Where he like basically doesn't want to do CS:GO anymore?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's pretty heavily involved with this company that put on the Vegas event, and I think this is one of many. My understanding is that their vision is to model a little bit more of like the UFC type thing, where it's not like a tournament or necessarily a league, but they want it to be sort of like challenged base and do some, you know, more interesting kind of show matchy one-off events. You know, think about like a Vegas fight. You know, it's this one-day awesome event, super hype, you know, the best of the best. That's the kind of thing they want to channel. That's why it was called WSOE 1. You know, it's like UFC 1, UFC 2.
So this is who I can sell my idea of the best of 13 to?
Yes,
because
dude.
I do think that should become a thing.
Absolutely.
I want to see two teams absolutely slog.
Dude, I think they're all ears
days.
to anything wild. And they've got access to a lot of cool spaces. And as you saw, the sponsor sales were incredible. It was by far the best sponsor setup I've ever seen. Every single segment had a different sponsor. You know, the brackets brought to you by somebody. Halftime show brought to you by Reese's. You know, prize pool brought to you by Bry's Brewing Company, all this kind of stuff. Really incredible to see their first event, just that level of, I mean, Progressive was one of the sponsors, dude. That's as lifestyle as it gets. Fucking car insurance. Like, that's nutso.
Wow. All right.
So look out for those guys. WSOE, I think they're definitely going to do more events. I don't know if they'll do CSGO stuff, but I think you're right. He's definitely going to be doing Vegas-focused. You know, I think that's his full-time job now.
Yeah, he lives there now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like moved there permanently.
So it's pretty serious. And Vegas is wild. My first time there, it's a good town to spend a lot of money, but it's definitely a lot of fun. Definitely had a good time with Lyrical. That was one of the first times. I haven't worked that many events with Lyrical, actually. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
He's worked mostly BTS exclusive events, and I've worked mostly Moonduck exclusive events. And the few crossovers, we haven't really been on the same place at the same time all that much. So that was a lot of fun. Everyone knows Gabe's a nice guy, but he's really a lot of fun to hang out in that scenario. Big craps player. He taught me the ropes, showed me the basics at least of how to play craps. So that was pretty cool, man. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's nice. And then, so was that Hamburg?
So Hamburg
was pretty sick. Well, obviously I guess the LA wrapped up first with King's Cup and everything, but King's Cup it was pretty much exactly expected. It was a good round in terms of the actual Dota. It was like everyone's kind of getting warmed up for the season. It was impressive seeing Forward in their full form. They looked very scary. Unfortunately, they didn't have that form at Hamburg because UR couldn't make it, and then EG had the same problem because Sumail couldn't make it. And then the funny part was that they both still had to fly to Germany anyway. Even though they had to come late, their flights to KL were booked from Germany. So both of them still had to fly to come to the tournament a day after they'd both been eliminated to then just kind of hang out.
Oh, God.
And then it sounds like they're having quite the party. So, you're a little old battle arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like 4 teams there right now.
Really?
Boot camping for KL.
I mean, I'm not surprised, dude. They are in the right place at the right time for the KL Major. I didn't even think of that.
Are they ever?
Oh, man. I hope my boys are making a fortune over there, dude. That is
I'm
prime spot.
Well.
It's probably the best LAN cafe in KL. I mean, I haven't been to all of them. I can't say that definitively, but I've been to a couple.
I mean, this thing's like brand new, huge investment.
It's all cutting edge. They've got these great player rooms. They've got the touchscreen TVs. It's brilliant. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so I guess a ton of the teams have contacted them, and they got nice discounts because, of course, it's the major, massive Dota teams. I'm sure they're gonna be promoting the hell out of it as being like, "Oh, look, Sumail's here, guys."
Yeah, right.
And probably doing some signing sessions. I know they gave like jerseys and stuff of the signed players. Like the arena asked for that, so they could put the jerseys on the wall. They're thinking, man.
Nice.
Those guys sound very savvy. I like it.
And that's smart too, because the teams will almost always say yes if you're just like, dude, we just want it as like a trophy piece, just to memory that you were here, because that has that feel of sports arenas. You go to the Canucks Stadium and you have all this cool signed memorabilia from players. That's sick. I love it. When we go to KL, dude, we're swinging by. All right, we're going to stop in and meet the boys. We're going to get the VIP tour. I got you the hookup.
I actually do want to see that place. I bet it's crazy right now with Black Ops, too, with all the Battle Arena streaming and stuff. They probably have like huge tournaments.
Yeah, it's a good spot to just go and be a spectator, but I played some PUBG there. PUBG was still popping when I was over that way, and it was it was fun. PUBG. I mean, it's a good... it's fun when you can actually play, or at least back then, it was fun when you could play PUBG on pretty decent specs and still have a good time.
Yeah.
144 hertz. Ooh.
That's my next step in life.
So, how was Hamburg? I'm going to be honest. I was that guy. I didn't watch too much of it. I'll talk about the wedding a little bit, but, I had a good excuse. I was doing family stuff, and I don't often do family stuff. How was it, dude?
That's true.
I saw the finals were kind of exciting. Pumped that Secret was able to pull one out.
Yep, 5-game series. Can't really ask for much more than that. Vici were... I don't know. It kind of looked like it was going to be a wash, honestly, because Secret were looking like suddenly super sick with the last few days to go. But then, I don't know, Vici were just like, you know what? They held their ground. They kept picking like their usual heroes because Secret were wild, dude. Like this group stage... I don't know. No one really knew what was going to be happening in terms of the heroes and stuff because the patch has been out for so long at this point that from what I heard, a lot of the players were kind of bored and a lot of people weren't taking this tournament very seriously. Like it's a tune-up for the major, but a lot of them were still very hopeful that there would be a patch before the major.
Yeah.
So in some senses, this tournament didn't seem that serious because they're like, okay, well, half these heroes won't be relevant anymore. At this point, it's become fairly clear that it's extremely unlikely we're going to have a patch before the major. It's probably going to be on this patch. Maybe there'll be another letter. Some heroes will get tweaked if something looks completely busted at Dream League or something. But
yeah, I mean, it would be insane to drop a game changer, a game buster
right before the first major.
I mean, we leave for the major in what, less than a week, like 5 days?
Yeah,
6
under
days?
a week. So
There's no way.
so some teams had like very specific ideas coming in. It looked like where they were trying to play really fast. Like Pain were doing this position 1 Nature's Prophet every game, and Weehaw was playing Visage, and games looked really good for them. I was like, oh man, Pain's kind of popping off. They ended up coming 4th in the whole tournament, which is another good result for them at an ESL event.
Dude, that's great.
They love that crowd, man. They had Secret though. They just started picking like. I don't know, Puppy even called it experimenting, and he even told everyone not to pick these heroes, but he's literally picking position 5 Legion Commander, position 5 Brewmaster all the time. Just these stupid, beefy, brawling heroes. There were support Centaur War Runners, I'm pretty sure. Pretty much anyone that you can fit in that category of giant meathead. Because why not? Because if the other team's just picking Ogre, you're like, okay, well, who could just match up against an Ogre? And you're like, oh, I guess we'll just pick Brewmaster. And it's like, oh, hey, look, Brewmaster actually has like a team fighting ultimate.
It's kind of
That's
true.
pretty much what happened.
It's kind of true. If you compare those to Ogre, yeah, it's just better. It turns into a real hero. If you like Centaur, if you just team fight and just run into the front, you're eventually going to get some assists. You're eventually going to get some gold. You know, once you get a Blink Dagger and item, you might have a game where you can actually turn into a hero. Even just Blink Pipe is huge. Compare that to an Ogre. What's he working on? Maybe.
And so basically, as long as you didn't get shit on the lane, because obviously Ogre is better there. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Right.
But as long as the lane went okay, then it was kind of like, oh, this is just straight up better.
But still, some of those heroes have enough utility that I think you can even still play around an Ogre. If you've got double stun or like the burst from Double Edge at level 3, stuff like that, you've got some advantages there.
Yeah, I think the Brewmaster will definitely be sticking around. I mean, we saw that Captain's Draft. It looks good. We saw the Lan played it not only at Captain's Draft, but he also played it like back in China and in like normal tournaments. They would play position 4 Brewmaster. So I expect support Brew to definitely stick around. I think he's a really good first phase, and support Axe will probably keep being a thing too. But yeah, it was a very interesting tournament because of that. Because Secret just looked like they'd kind of broken everything, and these stupid tanky heroes were just owning. And then it kind of looked like they were just going to sweep the final. But then Vici were like, you know what? Just stick to our guns. They picked very normal dual supports. They went like really heavy in the side lanes with like Bane Phoenix kind of deal, and they were winning games. So Dota was saved.
Yeah,
at the very least.
I don't know. I definitely understand why people are getting bored of the current patch. It's been a long time, just in general, since we've had a big game changer patch, but
yeah,
it's still exciting to watch in a lot of ways. It's cool that these diverse strategies are still evolving. I think in some ways there's something to be said for letting the meta have a lot of time to really evolve and see all this stuff that nobody ever really considered. You know, the game is so dense with so many variables, it's really hard to ever say a meta is completely figured out at any given time. It makes you wonder if we went back, if there were any metas that would have evolved in a different way if they had been given another 6 months
definitely.
or something.
I mean, people in general will say that Leshrac at TI5 was the most broken hero ever, for the most part. I mean, that's one of the most agreed upon ones. Like, that
since the game's been reasonably balanced, yeah, I would say that's true.
Since competitive Dota has really been a thing, yeah. That was the most broken a hero's ever been. And unless I'm like completely crazy, Leshrac wasn't even picked for the first half of that patch. So that kind of says something. But
I think he was also micro buffed a couple times throughout that patch.
Even so, it's like.
But you're right.
I mean, that guy.
That's what gets him the
after
attention
his tweak
with the micro buffs. I'm trying to think of a better example because there were other metas where like a specific play style was maybe better, but if you can identify a single more broken hero for a duration.
No one expected TI4 Deathball, really. Like, leading into the tournament, Deathball didn't look like a thing. And then China started it, and China was correct.
I think it's kind of weird because there are other heroes that are so good. Like, Wisp is always a hero that's been so good, it gets banned out so much that it's less prolific. But at the same time, that's part of what makes Leshrac so scary is that he was so easy. So powerful and so easy. Wisp is still, like, a really hard hero to execute with, and if you don't play it right, if you fall behind, Leshrac was just, he dumpsters the lane, he dumpsters the mid game, he pushes like a madman, and he scales really well with Octarine Core and all other dumb bullshit that he had. It was just anybody could do it for the most part. If you're on the pro level, anybody can play Leshrac.
Except Shiki.
Okay. But
ended up being the issue there.
I mean, compared to Wisp, though, right? You can't say that for Wisp. You can't say like 90% of pro players that play that position could play Wisp. That's just not a true statement. That was pretty true for Leshrac at the time.
No, definitely fair.
So I feel you. I don't know. I challenge you, Twitch chat. Is there a better example of a single more broken hero? Let's say since like TI2 or TI3 era, because TI1 was bananas. They didn't even have the heroes in the game.
Yeah. No, I was just discussing that with a couple of the people, like players in the lounge, and that's what we came up with. Was the Leshrac was like by far the unanimous decision, but. Yeah, the lounge was sick. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a lot of sponsorship at that event when it came to like the players' lounge. I think it's called Snipes was the company. It's like a clothing brand or something. So
okay.
there was Snipes. There was a barber,
Ooh.
a free barber all the time.
I love
he was there like 12 hours a day.
I could use a cut. If there was a barber in KL, I would be really happy. That would save me $20 and some time.
Yeah, and think about like all the players too. So for like your media day shots and everything, they could just go and get all of the players were getting haircuts, like all of them, because they was like, oh, sick, free haircuts. And the guy was like this renowned like speed barber, so he did them in like 10 minutes.
Dude,
the guy just like that was kind of his thing, and so he was there. There was free massages,
dude,
which of course is always very popular. Pinball machine, unlimited Pringles. There was like coffee machines, snacks, drinks, everything you could
Pringles,
want. Dude, Pringles. I literally saw pallets of Pringles at this thing. It was ridiculous.
So
there was like 4 PS4 setups with flat screens and all these couches and bean bags, and the player lounge was packed. Like all the players were just hanging out there like all the time. It was a very good time. Everyone's just playing FIFA. I was just Shrek and Jack, completely destroying him to the the glory in front of everyone else. It was good.
So let me draw a real world analogy here. This is like a mini. It's not the same degree, but there are some parallels in concept. ESL to United Airlines, right? After United beat the shit out of that guy and drug him off the plane, they were like, guys, we need to invest in rebranding. And now I fly a lot this year. I've flown more than once a month for the last like 10 or 11 months consecutive. I've flown a lot of airlines, a lot of international. I actually think United is one of the best right now. It's the fastest. They've got the most automation. You can get everything through the app. If you're one of the rewards members, you get upgrades, all this stuff. And it's because they've said, hey, we were so shitty, we got to pull a 180 and change or this boat's going to fucking sink. And ESL was not nearly as extreme as that, but there were a lot of rumblings with teams, talent, everyone behind the scenes of ESL events being difficult, and there were times where like practice areas were definitely not up to snuff, and lack of attention to ergonomics. I definitely heard rumblings of like payments taking a really long time to come through, like some talent working events where it's like, you still haven't paid me for the last 2 and now I'm being invited to the next one. Maybe that's a little extreme, but still, for a company that's been around for so long, you'd think that they'd have accounting figured out so they could just wire some fucking money to the teams and talent. I have no idea if teams have collected better than talent because I'm not involved in that side of things nearly as much, but to me, this is a sign of a company saying, guys, we got to fucking up our game. If we want to maintain our position as an industry leader, we got to fucking act like an industry leader.
Yeah. There was definitely a conversation or something because it was ridiculous. Like, we were completely pampered. Everything was so easy. Hotel was extremely nice. Shuttles, like you never had to wait for anything. There's just these, Mercedes shuttles everywhere you wanted to go. Did you see the production? Like the mainstream production was actually as good as TI.
It was really sick. It was
not
really
even kidding. Like everything was pretty much perfect. There were some issues like some of the camera operators and stuff like that. I knew there were some really weird camera switches, and that was like the one thing I noticed. That was the only thing I noticed of the whole event. There was like really good transitions, and they had those like SAP graphs that looked pretty cool. They had Layerth, which of course is always nice.
Yep.
At the arena itself, all of that kind of stuff. They moved the same kind of lounge upstairs at the arena. So there was another chill out zone at the actual arena. Very good with like the VIP segments and stuff for the players. I heard every player just loving the event. And I think it's very clear that they understand that their image was hurt by the whole Facebook thing, and they are hoping to come out huge, which I assume will be back on Twitch or possibly YouTube, but who knows?
Yep. Honestly, dude, I think the model of exclusivity for broadcasting rights in terms of the digital environment is going to start changing in esports. I think it's about time for an upset. I think we're really going to start seeing the full effects of the Twitch acquisition at Amazon. Just saw Gunrun put up the towel or put up the hat, whatever the saying is. He just quit. Do you know the gun run?
The Twitch guy?
Yeah, the Twitch guy, the gun run.
Yes, I did see that.
Justin Ignacio.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him.
Super long. He's been with the company since 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's just I think it was Slasher that tweeted a couple weeks ago, expect some people at Twitch to leave after TwitchCon because a lot of those contracts, when a company like Twitch gets bought out, part of the deal is that they want the employees to stick around so that the company doesn't just fall apart immediately after the acquisition. Part of the value is the human capital. So there's always a limit on that. There's a certain point where whether it's to get your full salary or to have all of your shares vest, there's always some cutoff date where a lot of those original employees will kind of fuck off because it's no longer the project that they really started working on all those years ago. And I think Amazon, they make a lot of money, but they've made there's a reason Jeff Bezos is the richest fucking guy in the world now. Partially because Bill Gates has given all of his fucking money away, but it's also because they min-max the hell out of everything. And the only people that they really save money for are the consumers, and that's because they know they need us because we're the ones that give them all the fucking money in the first place. Outside of that, everyone in their supply chain, from employees to drivers to delivery people to the post office, everything is like this really insane hardball, super razor thin margins. It's intense. And I think Twitch doing these, hey, we want to keep you guys exclusive to Twitch and give you these big bonuses to be here and be a part of the Twitch family, some of that is going to start going away, especially comparatively to where it was. When you're a startup, you have to be that way because you need to get the audience in the first place. Once you have the audience, then it becomes about min-maxing and how do we maintain how do we make decisions that give us more value compared to how much damage it does in losing our audience. Every time we sell out or do another ad or do something shitty, it damages a little bit of our brand, but if it's for enough money, it's worth it because we can use that money to invest in other things and grow our brand in other ways, and it all compounds upwards. There's a tipping point, though, and the arc is going to start coming back down a little bit. So, like WSOE, that was on every platform. It was broadcast on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Snipe TV, all these other
I saw that. Yeah,
dude, they're everywhere because they're like, why would we sell we just want people to watch our shit. We want it to be as accessible as possible. And I think people saw that ESL deal and, maybe some people know how much it was. Maybe it was enough, maybe it was fucking $30 million. If it was that amount, then you know what, ESL, you were right. And it was totally worth it because now you can use that money to reinvest in your brand and get everybody back on the bandwagon. That could totally be a great long-term strategy that maintains ESL's seat as number one, but there was just some risk involved and there was a moment where we thought we were going to lose them. Who knows? Maybe Twitch will do the same thing, but I just doubt we're going to see that kind of blocked off exclusivity like that anymore, at least nearly as much. It just doesn't make sense for either party.
Yeah, unless you're paying a lot, obviously. Which is
but even
one assumes they got.
Would you say this made sense for Facebook though? I don't know. I think the amount of people that are just like fuck Facebook.
I think they thought it would.
They thought it would, but it rallied the anti-Facebookers so much that it's just Jesus.
If it was
man.
Any other platform, it would have been totally fine. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't have a Facebook account.
And it just didn't work that well. I mean, I have one. I've deleted it from my phone and tablet. I log in occasionally when I need to upload something or check something if I get an invitation. But it's just, I'm out on Facebook. It fucking sucks. The only reason that people use Facebook now is to connect with their families. They're my parents and grandparents, I like seeing their pictures. I like seeing when grandma gets a new dog. But I don't want to have to be on Facebook to get that. Someone needs to start the family version of Facebook that's not fucked. That's $1 million idea right there, Twitch chat.
For free. Wow, look at you. So kind.
But things are really getting interesting now. I'm glad to hear that it was a good experience, though. That's good news.
It was a very good experience.
Positive
that's for sure.
As much fun as it
shout
is
out to
bash on the
I
shit.
have to give a shout out to my boy Murphy at Esports Murphy. He was our talent handler at the event. So I heard that in the arena there was a Haagen-Dazs. So, of course, I started spamming Hagen in the WhatsApp group, of which our handler was a part of. And basically then that sent slacks on a screeching fit of Hagen just over and over. And it was 8 p.m. on a Sunday. And the poor guy, and then I kept jabbing about him the whole day, just yo, so that Hagen, Murph, when's the Hagen coming? Poor guy didn't realize there was a Hagen upstairs in the arena. He thought I was just being a total asshole. So he's on his phone trying to figure out how he's going to get Hagen at 8 p.m. in Germany on a Sunday.
No.
And he's in the talent lounge, and I guess he like starts complaining. Someone else is just like, they want Hagen, but I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get Hagen. So he goes, dude, you know there's some upstairs, right? So then we come back after a series, and there's this whole box in the freezer of just all these little Hagen things, and it's like, yes. So shout out to you, Murphy.
Wow.
He was he was an excellent talent handler, very good guy, and yeah, he got us the Hagen. Everyone was very pleased.
That's great. That's good. I'm glad you had good experiences. I was going to say, as much fun as it is to rip on the Galaxy battles and the GESCs, as it's turned out, it's always better to hear the positive side, because that's really what we want. That's what's good for the industry. But should we talk about GESC a little?
Talk about dodging a bullet. I can't even. God bless you, Clifford. That's all I have to say. So for you guys who haven't caught up, I mean, I'm sure you all have GESC. Google it. Google the Scant blog. Google whatever you want to Google.
Yeah.
And the Cyborg Map blog too. Obviously, there are issues where the GESC tournaments did not pay anyone, as far as we can tell. Talent, players, consultants, all that kind of stuff. Clearly, there were some issues with the sponsorship money. The rumors that this kind of stuff we heard about, of course, didn't really want to say anything back last year, was that the day before, people are getting calls like, yeah, the tournament's canceled. And it's like, what? We're like getting on the plane right now. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, just kidding, tournament's back on. So that was the first time where everyone's like, whoa, what's happening?
I think that might be one of the first times that's ever happened. You have a tournament planned, everyone thinks it's good, you're about to get on your plane, you're hours away from leaving, you're all packed, you get a phone call, hey guys, don't get on the plane because we're not going to have a hotel when you get here. One of the investors pulled out, we lost the deposit. You're just like, what the fuck? All right, yeah. I guess we're not going. And then an hour later or whatever, and some other time later, you get a phone call. It's like, hey, guys, just kidding. We're going to rebook your flights. It's actually on. And you're like, what the fuck?
So that happens. What can you do as a player, as a talent? You can't just, not go now. But, I mean, at the same time, I'm sure they were all just like, well, that doesn't bode well.
Yeah. So there were, and again, you in that situation, it's already fragile. You are so scared to say anything negative because you know that puts you lower on the totem pole to get paid. If you're already afraid of getting paid, the strategy is always play nice, S the D, so to speak, and try to be
get
first
the money
in line. And I heard rumors on both sides where that guy, Oscar Feng, that's in charge of it, would go to the teams and say, guys, I'm going to make sure the teams get paid before the talent. I know we've had some money issues, but the teams are really the most important part to make this whole thing happen. Then goes across the street to the talent room and says, guys, I know the talent. You guys did so much work to salvage our brand. We're going to make sure you get paid before the teams because I know talent's more important. The dude is just a slimy ass, snake oil salesman type. I'm just going to say whatever I have to get this deal in place and get out of the room in the moment to make them, it's always the buying time. It's the fucking pyramid scheme type thing. It's a goddamn Ponzi scheme.
And everyone, I don't know, I did genuinely feel good about that guy. Hung with him quite a bit at TI. I was planned to be at all 4 of those GESCs, and then the first 2 got canceled.
He loved
and then
you.
I had a baby during the other 2. Thank you. Perfect timing. So then I think Scant might have replaced me because Scant he was doing consulting, and in his blog he says that, but then a talent position opened up, and I was just thinking with the other talent there, and I was like, wait, is that my fault that Scant had to go and work this thing? So Scant, I'm sorry, dude.
Oh no.
I know you were here earlier, but if you're still there, my bad. That might have been my fault.
I hadn't thought about that aspect of it, but geez, man, you might have been the catalyst there for sure. I was always peeved because I first met that guy at, whatever TI it was, TI 7, TI 6. It must have been TI 7, but
7, I think.
Because he did the classic deal. He goes to BTS, says, I'm exclusively considering you guys. You're my favorite studio. I love everything you do. I want to work together. Comes to me, says basically the same sort of thing. Doesn't overpromise quite that same way, but same sort of deal. I don't really like the BTS style. I love the MOONDUCK guys. I really want to work with you. I want to do this whole thing. And it was all just to get free information, free consulting. I sat down and watched games with him at TI. I probably gave him 2 or 3 hours of free consulting of just how to do stuff and how to appreciate teams. And, I regret it. He's the reason people like us actually end up charging for consulting at a certain point. Cause it's just like, dude, you're just I can't do the I trust you thing anymore. I can't do the I like you guys. Just tell me everything I need to know to run a good tournament and I'll hire you for it. Like, that's not how it works anymore, dog. I'm not into that. That's considered proprietary information, because if you can't figure it out on your own, then that's a little scary. And I got a bad read from that guy. And I feel shitty because I got. I actually at first got a good read from that guy.
You did not get got. Yeah, it's true. You were the very first person to call this guy out, and everyone else had to convince you not.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I didn't like it at first. And people were like, no, look, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I should have trusted my gut.
I mean, to be fair, obviously we had colleagues who were being flown out there and were doing work and were getting paid at the time. So it did seem right, you know?
It's true. But there was an aspect of the second event that now I am hesitant to reveal, but I think there were still some pending payments from the first one when folks agreed to do the second one. So
yes,
there was
dude, no one's been paid for either.
Oh, for either. Okay, right. So there's good. So there's a huge amount of risk you're assuming there, and you're like, all right, this guy's never run a tournament before. He hasn't paid for the first one. Do we want to go to the second one? I think there was definitely some dialogue amongst the talent of like, I don't know, this is risky, but I want to go anyway because Dota is Dota. I think that is the downside of all of our talent being pretty passionate and just caring about the game, is that, sometimes it makes us bad business people, because at the end of the day, we're like, well, I don't want to be left out of the tournament. I want to see what happens. I want to be there. I want to see my boys. So as good as that is, sometimes, in the business world, I think really the response there should have been pay up or we're fucking out. At least pay your debts.
Did you notice that you had like the highest rated comment in that thread?
I did.
Shout out to you.
I did.
Yeah, I bet you noticed that. I bet you're pretty pleased about that.
I actually saw that.
I want to see your smug ass face.
Dude, day after the wedding, I opened my phone. I'm like, oh my God. I'm trying to explain this to Carlo and Unsol. I'm like, guys, seriously, this guy, I called this guy out so long ago, and I scrolled down. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing anything, and I'm still getting PR. This is awesome. My sister's getting married, and I'm nailed it on Reddit. This day couldn't be any better. Honestly, that made my fucking day.
I saw that, and I knew. I was like, oh my God, he's going to be so psyched when he sees this.
Sometimes it just feels good to be right. I don't want to be the I told you so guy, but it's just like, it's a good feeling to know that my intuition was right. Or it's like, I knew there was something off about that motherfucker. He just didn't. Something was wrong. He didn't buy enough drinks, man.
Yeah. Rosa gave you the credit. Quick shout out to Zyori, who more or less predicted this exact situation.
Yeah. I mean, it really was, like, in retrospect, you look back, you're just like, all right, never heard of these guys. They got 4 minors. Wow, I hope they know some rich people. It's just like, that was really a bananas commitment. I'm surprised that
it was.
Just anybody went for it, but hindsight's 20/20. That's for sure. I definitely dodged a bullet there. They don't owe me any money. Most of the people that our policy with any organizer we've never worked with, it's 50% up front, straight up.
It's a good policy.
It's a good, especially in a situation like that where we're all whatever, quote, let's say tier 1 talent, or you mix in some tier 2 talent, wherever you want to draw the line there. They need us more than we need them. There's a shitload of tournaments out there, and I don't think it's unreasonable to say, hey, we know we're going to deliver. We have a huge track record. You have no track record. You assume the risk, so you got to pay us. That was Mr. Cat in a nutshell. They sent a message to contact, comments at Doritos.com. Hello, Moonduck. I saw you do some tournaments for 188bet. How much to do that for us? ? Thought it was just a phishing scam. I responded, never talked to him on voice, just all text, sent him a proposal. They said, this sounds great. And I said, well, to work with us, that'll be 75% up front. And they said, okay, no problem. We'll wire it tomorrow. As soon as the money's in the account, we start working. Dude, it's a great policy.
Mr. Cat.
Because if they pay that up front, they've at least got some money, so they're likely to pay the second half. The expected value of that situation is so much better than the doing all the work first and just hoping this guy is going to be good on his word. Fuck that. I'm out. I'm out on that whole thing.
Oh, good times.
Good times. Fucking Mr. Cat. Shout out to Mr. Cat.
Dude, have you seen the Forward Gaming logos that were at ESL?
No.
Their jerseys, rather. It's like, here it's like Forward Gaming, and then equally, if not bigger, on the other side is Mr. Cat.
Oh,
It is an
fuck
absolutely huge Mr. Cat logo.
I love it.
Oh, it was great.
I still don't understand Mr. Cat's business model. I've met some people that work for Mr. Cat. I know they do something with betting. There's always a big language barrier, and every time I just end up smiling and nodding and go, "Well, thanks for the drinks." More power to you. They always ask me about team sponsorships, and I don't understand why. I don't think anybody can use their platform unless you're inside China. So why do they want to market to teams outside of China?
I don't know.
I
guess because they like other teams.
I just don't understand. I want to meet their director of marketing. He's got to be fucking bananas crazy. It's like the what's that chain that does that? Sonic. They advertise in all of America, but they've only got stores in like half of the populace.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because they want it to be like you're driving through and then you go, "Oh, Sonic! I've seen commercials for that, but I've never seen one." So they count on
makes sense.
people driving by to stop. Supposedly
that's how I
worked
feel
pretty
about
well.
like In-N-Out and shit.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, I guess it's a little bit more inclusive, but it's like, oh shit, it's In-N-Out. Like, I know that's rare. That makes me want to go.
MrCatEsports.com. Oh, this is a great.
It's a betting site, right?
Well,
But it's all in Chinese.
Well, Mr. Cat Esports is just a collection of all the tournaments that they've ran. I think MrCat.com is the actual
MrCat.com
betting site.
It's all in Chinese. I don't even know what it says.
I think it's asking how old you are.
I don't know.
And
Chinese,
now, yeah,
so
I
I've
clicked
got
on the right
problems.
one and it says access restricted. Sorry, IP address blocked. You can't party with Mr. Cat. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
Oh, Mr. Cat. Oh well, they got the money. They're helping out the scene. I'm down. I'm down with the cat.
I mean, honestly, I don't understand the back end, but I'm not complaining. I speak positively of Mr. Cat everywhere I go. They're close to my heart. I have fond memories of staying up all night casting the Mr. Cat. For some reason, I convinced Slacks that was a big sponsorship or something, and the Slacks and Purge casts on that were legendary.
Oh, those were so
and
good.
You know, the people that work at Mr. Cat have seen that video that Slacks made with the cats, you know, the promo video.
Yeah.
They don't get it. They've talked to Slacks about it, and they're like, I don't understand, but we appreciate that someone somewhere thinks it's funny, but we don't think it's funny. That was basically what they told him. Which is accurate. But yeah, dude, the wedding was pretty cool. I have to admit, if I can go on a short personal tangent, man, weddings when it's a really close family member, like a sibling or I guess a parent or step parent, or well, that's same thing. But you know, sibling, it's really a little bit more emotional and a little bit more intense and cool. I've been to a number of weddings where it's distant relatives or, you know, friends, and it's like, yeah, this is cool. It's just an excuse to get drunk and party. And this was the first wedding I went to where I felt like, yeah, this is like a real ass wedding. You know, there was a Scottish bagpiper. They had a horse, a giant. It wasn't a Clydesdale. It was it was a Percheron.
Come on, you're supposed to know this.
It was a Percheron, dude. A giant ass, big, majestic horse pulling a white carriage that my dad, he wore a fucking kilt. You know, the old classic.
Nice. Good.
Came in the carriage, you know, walked down the aisle, the whole thing. And at the end, they got in the carriage and rode off with a little just married sign. The bagpiper was pretty cool. A little squeaky, but pretty good. But it was really a lot of fun. North Carolina is not a state I've spent a lot of time in, but it is definitely beautiful. Things move a little slower down there, but it was kind of a family reunion, man. My family is weirdly spread out. We all live in different states and different parts of the country, and we've all traveled a whole bunch, but we get together like once every 10 years. So it was a combo wedding family reunion, and that's part of the reason why I've been off the grid for the last week and a half, because it's just been nonstop socializing. I'm like
sick.
Socially burned out, dude. It's just nonstop. Blah, 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 blah. And the joke is everyone laughs that we ate dinner, and I'm always the last one to finish because I talk through the whole fucking thing. And everyone, it's like a joke now.
Not surprising.
Everyone's like, yeah, that's my brother that works in broadcasting. Can you tell? And I'm over there just literally, I talk to anyone about anything. The amount of times politics came up in a positive way was staggering. We talked about healthcare. My uncle's a doctor. We were getting into it with healthcare. Oh, it was great, man. Good stuff.
Oh,
Good
excellent.
times.
I actually had my brother-in-law pulled me aside because so what happened to me was I left LA and I went. I came home. I landed at midnight, and then at 10 the next morning, it was Clifford's baptism.
Okay.
So now we're not religious. It was just there's older people in the family. They like that kind of thing. We view it more like a community aspect. Like I actually feel like I learned a lot from Sunday school going. Like I used to do like the readings every week in church, kind of a deal, and would help teach Sunday school to the little kids and just going for like the very Jesus-y reading of the Bible. I'm down with Jesus. He was a pretty swell guy. So I'm interested in doing a lot of the, that version of religion for the child, but clearly I'll hope that they make their own decision as to whether or not it's actually real. So anyway, so we did the whole baptism thing, and it's the United Church of Canada. It's not exactly the most strict church,
Yeah.
You are definitely hated if you say anything bad about, homosexuality or anything like that. You can't do any of that. It's an all-inclusive kind of church deal. So it was very exciting because a lot of family came down, but I slept for like 6 hours, got up, had the baptism, and then I was leaving later in that afternoon to go to Hamburg. So I was only home for like 13 hours or something.
Oh yeah, I remember we were talking about that when you booked the flights and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I got pulled aside before I was leaving for Hamburg, and I found out that we're gonna have another wedding in our family too. So I'm excited. Weddings are fun. So we're going to have one of Sarah's brothers is going to be getting married. He told me he was going to propose when I was gone. So I was like, oh, shit.
Dude.
Hype. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
I don't know. Of course, though. So I took my girlfriend with me and introduced her to my whole family, which is also a whole nother.
Yes.
For all the young whippersnappers out there, if you have not done that yet, when you've left the nest and then come back for a family event with a nice young man or lady, a nice partner, boy, is that a fun experience because they've all heard things and talked amongst each other. So they all come up and just like, oh, you must be. Oh, I'm so excited to meet you, So it was a lot of fun. I think she enjoyed it, a little bit intense, but
that's always scary, man. The meeting the family.
Exactly. And it's just, at the wedding too. So everyone's like, so what are you guys going to get engaged? And she kept saying, she was like, seriously, don't surprise me. She said, if you want to get engaged, we need to talk about it for at least 2 to 3 months before we do. Because she's, super organized, very project managery. Like I got to really consider all the options. Somebody made a joke
realistic is nice.
Yeah, somebody made a joke about how romantic it would be if I, surprised her with a proposal, and she she made this face like, sometimes she can't really read sarcasm that well, so she can't tell if people were joking or being serious. So she was like, no, don't do that, please. She did that thing where she put her hands up, like waved, like no. We must talk first many months. That was a moment where I felt, oh, thank God. I like this girl. I'm into that. Yeah. Maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. Let's talk it out.
That's pretty good.
So good times. But I'm excited to be back. We're here for like 6 days, and then we're off to fucking KL, dude. The next big adventure. I'm going to try to find some time to squeeze in a few pubs so I can break off the rust. Haven't really gamed at all, anything in the last 2 weeks or so. So that's... I'm itching, dude. I'm jonesing.
Oh, I'm trying to play a little bit of Dota. It's been nice. Hasn't been going too well. Jeez, I just keep jumping into parties, and the parties aren't going too hot.
Yeah.
There's some losing parties.
So before I left for the wedding, I played like 3 games of Dota. I lost all 3. On the 3rd loss, I ranked up to Legend 4. Think about that for a second.
That usually means that the population has gone down then.
So something has changed. Like I'm just like, it's like basically a recalibration of where your number is. But
exactly.
Just think about that for a moment. You log in, you lose 3 miserable games. It says, congrats, you've been promoted, slugger. It's just like, what the fuck? What happened to this game, dude? What is going on right now? But it did oddly, like the psychological aspect kicked in. I was like, fuck, well, now I want to keep playing. I'm going to rank up again. This is great. I'm really making progress. Everyone's going to think I'm really good. Fucking Dota.
That's pretty good.
But I am in the mood to play. Purge was actually, he's PM'd me a bunch of Dota buff matches where people have gone 3 points in poison. And apparently it's like not that bad right now. He said almost nobody goes for the 4th point. You go 3 at level 5, and then you just go back for all your other stuff, which is, I've actually done that quite a bit. It's the 4th point is a pretty shitty diminishing return. But he said right now Dazzle is a really good, high-tempo, aggressive support. I was like, all right, Purge said it. I'm queuing up some games, dude. Dude,
Dazzle was the bee's knees at Hamburg.
if
Had a
you want to
couple
play
solo,
really, okay.
Yeah.
If you want to play some fucking party queue, just the two of us, man, I will play some Dazzle and you can play some core, big dog, because I'm
All right.
ready. I want to see the
that
Trent
might-
anti-mage, dude.
I don't know, not much of a core player.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a Void player. I like Void. 'Cause
Dude,
he's kind
I'm
of
in.
He's kind of an off lane and the safe lane, you know.
Dude, let's do it. Dazzle Void off lane. Let's go, you and me. Let's shut him down.
We'll have to figure that out.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. All right,
yeah.
cool.
But
Well,
are you nervous about KL because you haven't been casting at all? Are you ready to rock and roll or what?
I am ready to rock and roll. I'm not super nervous, though. I definitely need to put in some hours and do a little bit of studying up, reacquaint myself. But I'm at this point now where we've worked so many events and done Dota for so long that a lot of it is second nature to me now. You know, even though the game changes and evolves, there are a lot of fundamental aspects of the game that are relatively constant. And once you get a handle on that, you can pick it up pretty damn quick. You know, I can sit down and watch a few games and just be right back into it. And I'm like, you know, kind of casting it a little bit as I'm watching it. It's like riding a bike for me now. So I can just.
That's why a lot of the pro players are old pro players.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the concepts stay the same in Dota.
Right, exactly. So I was really nervous at Bucharest, and that was kind of our big breakout event earlier this year, where I really didn't prepare that much at all and just kind of jumped into it, and everyone was like, "Wow, you sound the best you've ever sounded." I'm like, well, that's great. I literally just kind of got on the plane and then spent 3 hours looking at Wikipedia before the matches started, and we just kind of went for it. Yeah. So, you know, and then the super major, I definitely put in a little more work and wanted, because we were going to be doing paneling and a lot of other stuff at Bucharest. You and I were really just casters. So I prepared a lot more for the super major, and that event was a huge boost of confidence because we had to do that opening panel with Red Eye, and I was really nervous about that. And I had never worked with Red Eye before, and I know just from how he is that he really has high standards and wants things to be a specific way, and you know is kind of picky about how certain things go, and he was really happy with how that panel went. So that was a great way to start that event for us, because we just had this great positive, like, dude, you nailed the opener, now everything else is easy compared to that. So the super major, I felt like we really fell into it. So I like I said, I need to play some pubs, I need to study up, but things are still pretty constant, and I'm ready to hop in there. It's been the same patch this whole fucking time, dude. So, like, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's still just like post TI and everything, too.
Some new heroes, but no, I'm really stoked, and I'm really excited. I've been to Malaysia a whole bunch of times. I love Malaysian fans. Honestly, I have a huge following in Southeast Asia. I'd still say, even at this point, probably more than 50% of the total Dota games I've cast have been C games. So C fans love the Zyori brand. They think I'm cool.
Hype.
Dude, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be sweaty. It's fucking swampy over there, but it's going to be good, dude. AC
think about that.
Is not always top priority over there. They're pretty used to the stickiness. But
I should do the short sleeve dress shirts under the jackets.
Dude,
is that a play?
It's not a bad idea. If you take off the jacket during casting, honestly, I would expect it to be warm. I would expect fans, not air conditioning. So let me put it that way.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We'll probably have
man,
some
that made me cross my
AC,
mind.
but it's not like when you go to California and everything is just AC to the max. It's not like that at all.
You know what we should do? Is that you should take the collars from shirts and just like, we need some sort of a device that puts the collar so that it shows, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like the fake turtleneck, but it's a collar. And
Yeah.
one goes like here. Thinking.
I like it, dude.
Then we'll look legit.
That is smart. That's what we need for those swampy broadcasts.
Perfect.
Trent's swamp suit. So yeah, I think it'll be fun, and I'm also stoked that it's a PGL event. PGL has done an incredible job throughout this entire year, taking care of teams, taking care of players, making it fun, allowing us to do some fun stuff. You know, they've just got a great balance. I think they're one of the best esports production houses right now for these kind of things. So I am really excited. I love their, whatever his title is, their lead producer, their director, whatever, Sebastian. He's incredible. He's really good to work with, and I know he has a lot of creative control for this one. So I'm fucking ready, dude. I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get in the zone, and we're gonna nail it. It's gonna be some good Dota.
Excellent. That's what I'm hoping for.
Hell yeah, bud.
So I guess we'll probably have to do a cast there or a podcast there maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think we should. I think the IRL ones are pretty fun. And, the last PGL event we did, they had the schedule broken down that the days were very reasonable. You're not working these. The Vegas event was 12-hour days. That was the only drawback. It was like those old school ESLs where it's just when you're there, you're 100% on basically all day. And when you're out, you're just sleeping. The PGL events are a lot more balanced, which I think is a really good thing. So that means we'll have a little bit of extra time. We'll have to record another one in Silvio's office just for good time's sake.
That's right.
Bring him in. We'll have to be like,
boss.
Silvio, in like 30 minutes, can you just come in and yell at us just so we can, it'll be good. I think I'm also going to get a new phone today. I'm going to upgrade to the new iPhone 10 S Max. Going to go for the big boy. I finally understand how phones work, Trent. I'm going to buy it because I want an unlocked phone so I can start getting SIM cards in international places. Because I've been using that shitty like international roaming thing that's $10 a day.
Yeah, don't do that.
I know. I'm finally
just buy a SIM card.
So it sounds like a really crazy expenditure, but this fucking thing is locked to AT&T, and now it's not worth paying for it to be unlocked. So I'm gonna start big. I'm gonna start at the top, and I'm
How
doing
much does it cost you to unlock it? Isn't it usually like $50?
No, it's like for this one, it's like 250, something like that. And this
Can you just buy a code online and do it for like every phone? Am I crazy?
I don't know.
Dude, just go to those really sketchy looking websites and buy a code for $50.
It's an iPhone 7, so it's not. That's the thing. It's still like
it's a little old.
Yeah, so I've been on my parents' family plan since I got a cell phone in 8th grade. So this is the first time I'm actually buying a cell phone for myself. This thing's been on layaway for like 3 years because it's interest free. It's all fucking scam. I finally figure out how it works though, and this thing is gonna get sold back to some nice young man who wants to buy a used iPhone 7 Plus, and I'm going for the big boy, Trent. Also, fuck it, treat yourself. We're going to Malaysia, dude. Now I can play Clash Royale on the big screen.
That's true. You'll be so much better. You'll be even better than Fog. Dude, I always see Fog playing that.
It's actually not that bad. It's fun to play. I play it when I'm pooping now. It's my new pooping game.
I'm glad to hear it.
All right, boys and girls, we are out of here. Well, thank you for joining us for this one. We'll see if we can squeeze one in before everyone leaves for KL. But per usual, our schedule's all fucked-a-renoed, but we're going to do the best we can to keep bringing content around Tuesdays. Of course, you'll find this one on the Moonduck YouTube, Zyori.tv for the audio only. I'll try to get it uploaded before Friday. And, of course, check out DotaHaven.com. And join the Zyori Discord if you want to chit-chat. I gave a recommendation on underwear in the Zyori Discord today. So I'm going to start giving tips on Christmas ideas, good deals, fun gifts, good white elephant ideas. So you got to get on there. Let's start the dialogue. Talk to us. I'm lonely, guys. I need friends. Let's do it. All right, we'll see you guys next time. We'll actually see you guys in KL. Bye-bye.